Welcome to Park Township. This is the September 25th meeting of the Area Coordinating Council, and we would like to do the, let's see, Judy, did you do roll call? Do we have a quorum?
We have a quorum.
Wonderful. Then let's do introductions, starting, why don't we start over here?
Melissa Vallier, Zealand Township.
Jim Gerard, Park Township, welcome. Nathan Bach, City of Holland.
Gotta swallow fast. Jacob Bonema, County Commission.
Terry Nice, Holland Township.
Al Nice, Olive Township.
Jim Stewart, Allegan County Board of Commissioners.
Jason Latham with the MACC.
Tom Hurd at large.
Ken DeWeer, Elmore Township.
Mike Sabatino, Port Shelton Township.
John Connex, Allegan County.
Russ Lasada with the MACC Authority Board.
Linda Howell, Lake Town Township.
Tyler Kent, MDOT. I may be the voting member until Lou shows up.
He texted me and said he's stuck behind a train, so he should be here shortly. Alec Miller with the MACC.
Judy Vischer with the MACC.
And we have no members of the public, so there will be no public comments, but we'll look for a motion to approve the minutes which have been distributed.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. I'll support it.
Any comments on or corrections? If not, please vote by saying aye for approval. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It carries. Jason?
All right, so we're going to jump in with the transportation program. We'll start off with Alec. Why don't you start on the TIP amendment?
Any of Jason's famous apple cider from his farm. Hand-picked, he slaves away every day after work out there, picks all the apples, washes them himself, you know, so.
It's good, very good.
Okay, so we have one TIP amendment this month. It's job number 219499. This is a new job, and it is to provide planning services for MACC Transit. The majority of this funding is for their current route study. If any of you have seen them push that online, they're having a big route study. They're having a public meeting coming up at the Evergreen Commons, I believe, and they're asking for a lot of public feedback. But this wasn't originally in the TIP because this is an ARPA grant, which is federally funded, so it didn't have to be in the TIP. But now MDOT is matching $100,000 of the state match. So since MDOT is getting involved, it has to be in the TIP. Any questions or comments about that one? Maybe, I think I did a good job explaining it, but if there's any more to add, not to throw you in the fire right away, Luke, I'm talking about our one TIP amendment. I mentioned how it's an ARPA grant and they got the funding now.
Yeah, it really just needed to be put into JobNet so that the state funding side of it could be implemented, so it's really all
So if there are no comments or questions, if I could get a motion.
I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2023 to 2026 TIP amendment as listed.
Support.
All right, so we got a motion and we got support. Any comments? No comments, then all in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the long-range transportation chapters. Alec, it's you.
Yep, so you should have received chapters 3, 4, 5, and 7 attached in the email, so hopefully all of you looked through that, and we sent it out a little bit earlier. Eric did, so we could get any comments, and we didn't receive any comments on it. So we're assuming that that means that all is good and we can get these chapters approved. Chapter 6 is missing because the TAC wanted a little bit of a rewrite in one section. So I'm going to do a rewrite of that, and then I'm going to send it, and it's going to go back through TAC to be approved, and then you guys will have chapter 6.
Right, and the one thing that TAC was asking was if when we do make any changes, to just show where the changes were, highlight that, so when it gets sent back out, people can see what the additional or new language is. I think That was just a comment that's easily added, so that will be coming with this chapter 6. All right, so if there's no comments here, let's get a motion on the floor.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Support.
and support. All right, any additional comments with the supported motion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. There you go, thank you very much. And just like we said last meeting, I mean, this is all gonna come back to us in February for final approval, but we do wanna make sure that everybody gets a chance to see these chapters as they're being completed. So we feel really good with where they are right now, but these are still living documents, and we can make changes certainly in the future.
And it's text only, so if you opened it and you said, wow, this is a really boring, ugly looking document, don't worry, it's just text only. There's no graphics, no charts, anything in there. So next up is, keep with the theme of the long range, we have their project list. This list should have been included in your packet. Eric created it with the help of TAC members, and then they went through and they approved it at this month's earlier TAC meeting. So there's not much to say about it unless you really want to dive in and look at all 100 line items on it. So just have to know that the TAC built it with Eric and they liked it. So just like the rest, if there's no comments or questions about the list, need a motion for that. And this is a very illustrative list too. So if you look at it and think like, oh, where are we gonna get funding for that? This is just the best case scenario illustrative.
So can we get a motion on the floor here for project list?
Move to approve project list.
Great, and a second? Got support, okay. Any additional comments? I'm glad that Alec, you did say that this is the illustrative list. With this long list, this is the best guess looking 25 years into the future, so it's the best we have right now, and certainly everybody had a chance to comment, and we do work with all of you to come up with that. Okay, so we have a motion and support. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, and opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries, thank you. All right, next up is gonna be me, and if it's okay, I'm just gonna sit right here. So, this was a really good discussion at TAC, and it's regarding the Reconnecting Communities grant. So, what we were discussing is going after this pot of money for the pedestrian bridge over in the Holland-Zeeland area on the Business Loop 196. What was really good about that project, which we got final comments in, that report will be completed by next week, and we're going to go to the public in October, but we had really good public comment, really good support from the community, certainly from the TAC members. And here's an opportunity to go after grant money to actually, go for that next phase, which is design and construction. The one thing from reading through that grant is they recognize that reconnecting communities, a lot of those grants might be more of these pedestrian type projects. And it said right in the application that they recognize that funding might not be 100% secured. So to me, the door's open to be able to apply for grant money and basically be honest and say, we don't have all the matching money just yet. And considering with the IIJA, there's so much grant money out there that I thought it would be kind of a crime not to go after it, even though we're not ready, even though we don't have the money 100%, because there's a good opportunity to get in the queue, get some feedback, and then, like I said, we still have to design it, and then construction would start. It might give us the next 12 months to work with the feds and get the project 100% ready. So it's very rare that you go after a grant and you're not 100% ready, but this would be the opportunity. This is where we are right now. We're not 100% ready. So that was the discussion at the technical committee. They, like I said, had a good conversation. They supported going after it, recognizing that they're not 100% ready. So on their recommendation, we're coming to you and asking for your support to submit this grant by Thursday. What will be in there, there's no commitments, but I do have to thank the township, the city, and MDOT for writing support letters. It's just huge. We're in a good spot. I think we have a really good application. Working on our benefit cost analysis, that's one of the really tricky pieces of an application that I think would turn a lot of communities away because there's a lot of data involved. But we've got all that information in. So I think the feds will be impressed with what we have. And like I said, we'll just be honest, we don't have all the match money secured at this point, but we do have commitments of support. So with that said, we're looking for a motion from you to support the recommendation from TAC to move forward with submitting the Reconnecting Communities grant by this Thursday.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Support. Great. Any comments?
I'm just going to say that I think this is really valuable to both sides of the highway because there's a lot of people traversing that space right now by land. Those cars are moving very fast. I see kids trying to make it up to Captain Sunday and all the downtown activities. And this is really, just from a safety standpoint, a huge blessing. So, yeah, I think anything that I can do to help support this, I want to.
Just to clarify, where is the?
Between 88th and 92nd. Yep, exactly. That's where the pedestrian bridge will be going. And then we've also included additional trails within the MDOT right-of-way between 88th and 92nd, and actually on the south side a little bit further to connect with to the west to connect with the park. So that's, I can't thank MDOT enough for sitting down, working through and talking. I mean, we haven't gone through the permit process to get the actual approvals. Like I said, we haven't hit design yet, but the preliminary level of design, and then we're working within limited access right-of-way, which, I mean, I used to work at MDOT. You don't allow anything in limited access right-of-way except for the road. So for them to say, yeah, we understand that there is maybe a missing piece, and that whole system might work, and there's a safety benefit to it. That in concept, MDOT's agreeing with it. So the support letter for us to move forward is great.
There's so much traffic, for your information, so much traffic crossing there by land that it actually, you can see it through the grass median.
Yep.
Now, are we including the Van Hill Bridge or not with this asset?
So right now, not including that in the application. I think our discussion with MDOT and some other folks, they thought that might be a bit much. And again, the more you add, the more match money you need. And I thought, well, geez, we don't have the match money identified for the first one, so let's do that one first. And that's where the public really felt that if they were to prioritize it, that would be priority one, and then Hill would be priority two. So we're only going after the one, but certainly all the additional trails as well to really make it a complete connection. Good conversation, thanks. All right, so with that comment, if I don't see any more, then we're going to go ahead and all in favor of moving forward, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Okay, opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you.
I have a quick little Green Commute Week recap. So we had over 200 entries, which is fantastic, on our little submission form on our website. So with adding up all the entries, that comes out to 2,153 green commute miles, and that is roughly 1,658 pounds of CO2 saved for green commuting. We had 11 winners. We gave away $550 in gift certificates, lots of t-shirts. If anybody wants a Green Commute t-shirt, please come to the MACC office. We have so many. Small through XXL, so you can get some. And yeah, lots of, I was really encouraged when people would come into the office and say thank you for all of this. And it was a really good, the community seemed to like it, so.
Yeah, I just want to second that. It was really nice the way Alex set it up. You know, he had this spreadsheet and was able to, you know, get people to get online, fill it out, and then he contacted all the winners, you know, had a nice conversation with them, and then when they came in, they'd stop and chit-chat for a few minutes. But it was nice to get some people into the office, let them know where we are, what we do, and then thank them for their participation. So I think I probably talked to at least 6, 7 of the 11 people that stopped by.
There was one guy that came in and he was actually really involved with the Community Action House. And he talked with us for like 45 minutes at the office and exchanged a bunch of names and stuff. And so it was really good, met some good people throughout this. And that was all I have.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, then we're going to go to MDOT comments.
I kind of give my very brief update. I don't have a lot regarding the projects, except we're getting towards the finish line for the 196 from Zeeland to Hudsonville bond project there. Also working on the M40 kind of by Hamilton there, the center left turn lane project. I think that's still scheduled through kind of mid to end October, and then that should open up as well. So aside from that, we're chugging along. We're getting to the finish line. So that's all I got. Unless you got anything.
I really don't have much either. We're really at a kind of a midpoint here, changing between fiscal years here in the next week or two. So really that's kind of the focus right now. So maybe some more updates next time.
Nice thing is we do have a couple approvals that we've received from MDOT for our CPG for next year, which is really, really nice because that's how we pay for the lights and the lunches. So that's nice. Those are still coming through. It'll probably still take another month before all of them are approved.
Right, yeah. For the consolidated planning grant, which is really the biggest portion of that, we obligate that in the prior year, so right on October 1st, the MPO can start with that work. For the data collection and the CMACC, we don't have access to obligate those funds until after the start of the fiscal year. So usually around mid-October, we can start obligating those, and then the MPO, once that contract is signed, can start billing to that work.
So I'm going to use that comment to segue right into, because I don't see Federal Highway here, so we'll jump right into administrative and the financial report and budget amendment. So the on the finance side of things, we're right on track. My goal is to make sure that we spend this funding that's coming to us or is available to us from the feds. So making sure that CPG, the asset management, CMACC, those budgets are used to support us and what we're trying to get done. So we're right on track to spending those funds. So I'll maybe go into just a quick little bit of detail on the actual budget amendment that was handed out, and you can kind of see those first couple lines that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the pot of money that we were just talking about. That's what MDOT has approved for next year, just this last week. So we'll be able to start using a couple of those categories by October 1. A couple of the other categories, like Luke said, really won't be available till later in the year. But with the budget amendment that is presented to you, as I said in the memo, the main thing, if you look at those next couple lines down on the watershed environmental side, you have the EPA funds, trash-free water funds. All of those funds needed to be actually put in to the budget for as expenses. So we didn't have those in there because we didn't exactly know what that was last year when we approved the FY23 budget. So we got that in there now. The bottom line is revenues over expenditures. We're still in the positive, so we're still ahead, which is nice. There was about a $10,000 additional that we needed to cover on the watershed side to match that money that came in from the feds. And that was good because we had the money to do that. So what I'm looking for now is to make sure that this gets approved so we can have a clean audit, because we need to make sure these numbers are in there. Before the fiscal year end closes, that's why I was telling Judy, we got to make sure everyone's here to make sure we get the final budget amendment done before October 1. So if there's anybody willing to make a motion to approve the budget amendment, that would be great.
So moved.
So moved, and support?
Support.
Support. Okay, are there any questions or comments? All right, not seeing any. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, now for the fun stuff, the executive committee report. That's attached, but I will just run through it real quick. What we talked about. If I have it right in front of me, but I should. Well, since it's not right here, maybe I won't. All right, where did it go? Tom, can I say that you stole it from me? No, there it is. It's the last page. It's good. That's good. All right, so we talked about reconnecting communities, and we're moving forward with that. And then certainly the discussion on the MACC, having that as a banking option. We're still moving forward, making sure that we're ready to do it. We haven't jumped right into it yet, but we're still thinking that it looks like a good tool in our toolbox to be able to use, because it's just such a better rate of return than what we're doing right now. Let's see, the other discussion we had, which was really good, is talking about a strategic plan. And this is really good because we're going to host a workshop next week with exec committee to talk about providing two things. One is some direction for me as the executive director in terms of strategic planning, just to help make sure that I'm meeting all the needs of the MACC and making sure that, I don't know, there's a little bit of a fence that I know which side of the fence to be on when I'm out doing all this work. But then certainly looking at kind of as an organization, what's our strategic plan? Where should we be headed? Are we really, we have a unified work program, we have a transportation long-range plan, we have all this information that we're working on, but kind of, take one step back further. What's the bigger picture? What's our strategic objective? And I know there was some stuff that was done 20 years ago. I think Jim Brooks was part of that. The Strategic Alliance was part of that. There's a lot of good data. So we're going to talk about, do we use that data? Do we dust it off? Do we want to recreate something like that? So I'll be working with the executive committee on that starting next week, and trying to get some strategic direction stuff on. So that's exciting for me. And the actual next exec meeting will just be my performance review. So it won't be all that exciting next month. But that's our one topic for the next go around. And the only other thing I wanted to add was the route study that the MACC Transit's working on. That we're definitely part of that here at the MACC, and it was really nice that MACC Transit was able to put in funding for us to support the data analysis. So I know Eric's been diving into the data. I'd say he was pulling his hair out, but he doesn't have much to pull out. But he was last week was very busy, and this week the reason why he's not here is he's at the national conference MPO conference in Cleveland. So he's really excited to be there. That's a really good opportunity for him. But I'm trying to get all that data together and working with the consultants for MACC Transit. He's really doing a lot there. So looking forward to that process and moving forward. And kind of with that said, you'll probably see another amendment to bring that funding into the MACC once it's made available. So that's another one of those examples where we have to track revenues once they're coming in. So with that said, are there any questions or comments?
If I could piggyback a little bit on the strategic planning, if any of you have any comments or suggestions as to goals, short-term or long-term, communicate them to anyone on the executive committee or to Jason directly, and we'll try to incorporate all of that in the planning process.
Very good. All right, so then next up would be member comments. Maybe we can start.
Large members.
There could be something.
I can tell you what we had for dinner yesterday.
We released our strategic action plan, and we're proposing a couple of roundabouts. MLive got a hold of that and made it front page news, and we got a lot of comments, especially for the one at 120th and Port Sheldon, but thanks, Al, for your nice comments. And most of them were just opposed to the idea of a roundabout. And I've seen how they work, especially the one in Zealand. You get rid of a lot of the serious crashes. In fact,
You did, the T-bone.
you get rid of the T-bones, and the one in Zealand, after a year, there's been no accidents. So we'll probably be going forward, and even though we'll probably try to hold a public hearing at some point, because it's going to be controversial. But
Well, if you need support or anything, or data or information or some graphics, or just, somebody maybe to go up there and talk about it, I'd be more than happy to help.
it's a ways off yet, but people don't like them.
After a while, I like them now.
I don't like them until they use them.
Once you get
Yeah.
used to it.
I go through the one in Zealand at 35 miles an hour, so I know you can do it.
You're on tape.
No, I'm sure that wasn't picked up. All right. Haven't done anything additional? All right, Linda.
We're closing down a really busy summer. Building continues at an incredible pace. We're also thrilled that the work on the Blue Star overpass is done, because you had a couple great businesses, if you will, on the east side, and they were struggling this summer because they lost all their traffic. So if you're out and about and you feel like a great beer, go to Guardian. They would appreciate seeing more people. But it's been a good summer.
We talked about the route study, and that is going to be ongoing for 6 to 9 months. It's going to encompass a wide area. A lot of public input is what we're looking for, as well as talking to a lot of the agencies, not-for-profits, even schools, just to know what the total impact would be. And it comes at a good time because we also are getting grant funding for a new route match software system that will be on all the buses. And hopefully this one will actually come through and have an app on your phone so you can actually see where the bus is at on the different routes. And then, of course, demand response service as well. I think they will also have an app for that part as well. So, yeah. There'll probably be some route changes as well as bus stop locations and everything else. But, yeah. It'll be good to get to the end of that and get everybody's input.
Just from the Allegheny County Road Commission that the construction season has gone real well. Paving season is nearly wrapped up, with partially just the beautiful weather.
Yeah, Port Sheldon, I just got back from vacation and opened my email to, we were awarded an EDA grant for master plan and economic development resiliency plan. So that was a good thing to open up to. And then we're short-term rental is on our docket for the Planning Commission this Wednesday, so probably a well-attended meeting. It's been going pretty smoothly, actually. So
Nothing from Fillmore besides just that, but I reported last month, so.
I think.
All right.
Nothing directly from Allegan County, but I got an interesting piece of email in the last 10 days of an outfit, I think it's a amusement park, offering to sell a pedestrian bridge. Which, and I looked at the picture, it's a 4-lane divided, goes across 4-lane divided highway. I sent the information out to Jason and to the two governmental entities, the City of Zealand and Zealand Township, and I think it was 236,000, something like that.
That's a drop in the bucket.
I know.
So yeah,
That's freight on board, it can be a sway.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the middle of our master plan that we're doing, and it's supposed to be scheduled to be finished next spring. We actually have a postcard mailing going out this week, encouraging our citizens to take an online survey. Hard copy is also available at the Township Hall. And on November 11, on a Saturday, we're having an open house for those that want to come in and discuss, the direction of the township, which is going in circles with a new roundabout. But I've also had some comments. I'm personally in favor of the roundabout and been encouraging citizens to give it a clear chance. I met with Brett Laughlin last week and talked to him a little bit about that and some other issues. And really like the roundabout that we have in Ottawa County up at Coopersville. You think of the traffic that goes through there, the double bottoms, both for the milk plant and for the junkyard, or what do you call it?
Landfill.
Landfill, that's a better word. Landfill, that sounds more appropriate. And you rarely see a backup there. An amazing amount of traffic goes through there. And what I'm telling people is, from a safety aspect, basically no fatalities at a roundabout. They're used heavily in Wisconsin, and a lot of success with those. And I think we got to, inform our citizens that, hey, it's changed, but it's going to be okay. Because we can sometimes have backup there at certain hours of the day, a quarter of a mile backup, waiting to go through that 4-way stop. And nothing against the traffic light, but there's a new traffic light on the corner of 120th and Quincy. And unfortunately, my wife and I came up there recently and there was an accident. We all want to, oh, it's yellow, I can make it. And they hit the accelerator instead of tapping the brake. And you get those accidents, fender benders. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. But if you do get comments about the roundabout, send them to me. I'd be glad to try to talk people some sense. I did talk to Brett about the design. If the township at our level could at least have some input on the design. I love the one in Coopersville. If I'm a truck driver, the one by the Captain Sunday, a little tight with all those curbs. And he said, no, it'll be kind of a blend and won't be some of the curbs. So I'm kind of think it's going to be a good thing for the community. That's all I got.
Well, we had our, at Holland Township, we had our annual budget public hearing last Thursday, and all was approved for next year. We had the usual attendance at our budget hearing, which was nothing, which is really kind of surprising, disappointing somewhat, because we're talking about a $40-some million budget, and there's little or no interest in that as far as from the public. There could be interest, but none that we can relate to anyway, but it's all good. We're looking at a ribbon cutting on our rec center that we've been talking about for over 10 years, which is, again, just a repeat that's in the old Yonkers facility, Yonkers space, sometime in October, so we're excited about that. And that's about it for today.
Yeah. Early on when I joined this council, I brought to you a need of being able to fight chemical fires here in the county, and that we didn't have the proper tools to do that. I'm really proud to say that we built consensus unanimous, bipartisan consensus. 100% of the fire chiefs in Ottawa County supported it. It has been, the tools have been identified, the purchase orders have been executed, and I'm really proud that that's happened. And that's going to be something that's going to protect everybody in Ottawa County, not just a select few, but it's good for everybody and our businesses. So I was really happy to be part of that. Tomorrow, the Board of Commissioners will vote on the budget, and that's $260 million, and we have more than enough people coming to talk to us about it. I'd be happy to share some of them with you. I will be voting no tomorrow on the budget. The budget doesn't really affect any of the departments except for the health department. That's been the main focus of this go-around. I am for incremental change. I am for making sure that when we approve changes that we do it with an impact study in place, especially when it's a significant change. And we're not talking about 5% cuts incremental. We're talking about 10 times that in some places. So I think that it's irresponsible from my perspective in serving on multiple boards with different organizations to make decisions this quickly with dollar amounts that are this large, because we don't fully appreciate what the negative outcomes could be. I don't think they've been really flushed out in the way they should. So I have put forward a motion to perform an impact study so that we can make an informed decision for the next budget cycle. That was shot down at the last Finance Administration meeting. The Ottawa Impact Commissioners are pretty set on passing this. So if you are on Facebook, I did a pretty comprehensive breakdown of what my concerns are about this budget. It's the Jacob Bonema County Commissioner page. And then I'll also be feeding that to my jacobbonema.com campaign website here shortly. But the vote is tomorrow, and if you care to be heard, there's plenty of time for public comment, and really encourage you to turn up, because this does impact the least of these, especially our food banks, our frontline food pantries. Families that can't afford to vaccinate their kids, they're going to see that choice being limited. There's certain aspects of the health department that really keep the entire community safe, and if they don't have the staff to perform inspections of our restaurants and wells when people are trying to sell their homes, there's just a lot of things like that need to be fully staffed to keep our county growing, safe, and secure. So that's it in a nutshell.
Always a lot of things happening in the city of Holland, but some great things are coming to fruition pretty quickly. We will be breaking ground on our high-speed fiber broadband internet system in the next couple of weeks or so. And one thing only a group like this could appreciate is there was a millage vote a year ago for us to be able to issue up to $30 million worth of bonds for 25 years at up to 1.5 mils. We waited a full year before we issued those bonds because we wanted to hold off on taxing the people as long as we could. And it looks like we're only going to need to issue $25 million worth of bonds for 20 years at about 1.2 mils. So savings on all three of those across the board. And one of the things that's going to allow us to do is push off that showing up on the taxpayers' tax bills until next summer, about the time the first of the fiber hoods go online. So that was really one of the big goals that we had. Our anaerobic solid waste digester that's downtown, the big gray ball full of you-know-what, was seeded recently. It's like making sourdough. You can't make sourdough bread unless you get somebody's sourdough to go along with it. And the people of the city of Granville were nice enough to share with us. We're currently trying to figure out what the right thank you gift is for that. We'll try to get that going. But that digester is actually operating. It's not at 100% yet. They've got to ramp it up over time. That's working. Right in that same neighborhood, the 6th Street road construction, if you've been down 6th Street, just to the north of downtown, we've got about half of that done. The section that's going to be getting snow melt all the way down on the street is right on track as well. Our Waverly Road Fire Station, if you've driven by Waverly and 32nd Street, our new 5-bay station. Once that's done, our Collin Park firefighters are going to move into the old station right next to the new one. They'll operate out of both of those while we're remodeling the Collin Park station. And then last but not least, on Wednesday, we should be getting an update from staff on the costs, the actual costs of the ice skating rink downtown, and based on all of the communication that there's been from council so far, it looks like that's going to be a go probably at the next meeting or two. So that's what we have going on in Holland.
We don't have anything as exciting as a digester. So, and I will just thank you, Jacob, for your comments from a medical standpoint. I hear what you're saying, and hopefully others will hear what you're saying. So anyway, we got some things going on in Park Township. If you look to the west, you can see some construction going on. We're actually getting our pickleball courts built, and weather permitting, we might be able to play on them this year yet. So we'll see how that goes. We're working on our master plan at this point. The public comment has been closed, and so now the Planning Commission has to do the hard work of putting the plan together before it comes to the board, hopefully by the end of this year or the beginning of next. Let's see. I did have Jason come and talk to our township about the road diet on Ottawa Beach, and they were all for it. Now, if the road commission can help us along, and they're on the 5-year plan for that, we'd like to see it done a little sooner, but we'll see how that goes. We have purchased the jet skis for water rescue. They were in. I don't know if they used them or not because they're still going through training. Apparently there's a whole lot of training going on. So we're going to have a one stationed at the yacht club on the south side. We're going to have one station on the north side next to the old Coast Guard station. And then let's see, last but not least, October 1, short-term rentals are no longer allowed in the township. So we will see how that goes, and we'll see how many lawsuits are brought. We'll see. So, but those are the big things in Park Township. So good luck, Mike. So.
I bring you greetings from Kevin Kleinstra, our mayor. He's on a cruise in Switzerland at the moment, and he'll be back on his way home again on Wednesday. He's been gone for about 2 weeks and having just a wonderful break, so you get me. And late, I'm sorry, waited for a train. Did you get that train too? Oh my gosh. And they had one train coming into Holland on Lakewood Boulevard there, one train coming in. They opened up the gates when it was finished. It was very slow. They opened up the gates. 4 cars came through. I've never seen this. The gates went straight down on top of that 5th car that was coming down, and another train from the other way, just that fast, came a big, long train. I've never seen that they passed, but they did, and they made it, and I'm a few minutes late. I'm sorry. The big thing for Zeeland, I believe, is snow melt. We are finally working through all the final things, getting everybody on the same page as far as the merchants are concerned, who's paying what. We were really fortunate that we decided quite a long time ago that we were going to use our ARPA funds as far as they could go to make this happen, because it was something that a lot of people wanted to have. First phase is just about done. If you haven't ridden through Zeeland, maybe it's not the opportune time because half of it seems to be closed at the moment, but you can see how beautiful the landscaping is, and it's really going to benefit the school kids too, how we did the parking and for the drop-offs and things like that, and opening up a little bit so there's better two-way traffic and better parking all along the way. It's helped because a few homes have gone away, and the slide building is coming up. If you haven't seen that yet, it's absolutely beautiful. They've just done a great job decaulking, and not ready yet, but it's going to clean up that block in town beautifully well too. What else am I missing, Kurt? Kurt sits at just about every meeting that I'm at. We have a lot of things. We've been very fortunate. Clean Water Plant is doing some additions and some changes again, and that's just an amazing facility run by Doug Ingolsman that is brilliant. Has worked well for Holland, City of Holland first, and he came to Zeeland. And we continue to win national awards for a small community clean water plant, and we're really proud of that. I think I'll be done.
New restaurants.
Which one?
Well, we got public coming back in.
We've got public coming back. Restaurants, okay.
Yep.
We've got a new one called Crit's Maker that they were really hoping to be open by the end of this month. I'm not clear because of some alcohol policies that they're they're set to open up yet, but they're pretty close in the old Bush's restaurant. Public, which we have all well revered, is coming back in town. Same spot, but expanded. And that will be with a new project that's going on. We're taking down 2 buildings in the city of Zeeland, demolishing them, and a developer is coming in and putting in 3 stories, highest buildings we have downtown, in 2 of them. And we've saved a space, or bought a space back from them again, because we had purchased those buildings to put I call it an alleyway, a walk-through between the north parking lot and down to Main Street. We've never had that people have to walk through stores to get to our Main Street, so we're pretty excited about that too. And the new plan shows some smaller boutique-type shops that will open up into that walkway, so there'll be more places to go shopping if we get those filled. So lots of things going on downtown Zeeland, all very, very good, and the full community is really supporting them. Makes me feel really proud of that.
Not much new in Zeeland Township. I think, like Laketown, we'll be glad when the construction is done and everybody's commute can go back to normal. They're excited that when the bridge opened on 96, there was, I mean, if we were going to have a parade, this would be the time, this would be the year to have a parade. So, I had to plan that. Parade to Moville or something, so.
Well, thank you very much. Well, that's good, yeah.
If I could provide one more comment, since traffic circles have been referred to, and with some winking of the eye in my direction. I read about a month ago, MDOT published a list of the intersections with the highest traffic incidents in the state. 3 of the top 5 and 4 of the top 10 intersections were traffic circles. And we're talking, I think the highest one was like 111 accidents and several personal injuries. So they're not a panacea to solve all traffic problems. There is a downside that comes with them. There's a learning curve, obviously, but it also comes with some unnecessary or unwanted results at times. So try to keep those things in mind as we're discussing a particular installation. One in Zeeland, I wholeheartedly supported. I thought it was a good location and a good application, and it's proven to be very successful. I have my doubts about some of the other proposed traffic circles, so keep that in mind as the dialogue continues. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so next, I think item is we're going to have our annual MACC holding meeting in just a few minutes, so we can adjourn this meeting, and then the 7 townships and 2 cities can stick around for MACC holdings. And then our next meeting is next door, next month at the Dragonflies Learning Lab. So it sounds like that'll be a good spot.
Yeah, it's OEC's latest preschool that they've set up, and we have it's a wonderful meeting room, perfect for this size group, and we're trying to do 1 meeting a year that's not in one of our members' facilities, and I think this is a good fit since we still, subcontract to OEC.
Yep, exactly. All right, so with that said, we're going to adjourn this meeting, and 7 townships, 2 cities, please stay for the next one, starting in 4 minutes.
See you, Russ.